Okay. Okay. Part two. Um, First, um, under different circumstances, that I apologize to the ones that got my mouth basically about the whole nursery home thing. Yeah, I apologize. Uh, so whatever circumstances that was, y'all have to do that. You have to do that. Think about the ones that did it on purpose. Um, let's say if somebody was to go through what they go through and they did not want to deal with that, they just up and put them in there. There has been times, if anybody knows or remembers, that hey, sell the house, sell this, sell that, and what we gonna do with him or her? Put him in put him in a nursery home? No. So the ones that did that on purpose, you're not getting that apology. The ones that had to do it under circumstances, yeah, y'all got that apology. But the ones who disrespectfully did it, no. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Nope, I'm not getting that apology. On to part two. Anyway, on to part two. This is the reason why church, the place church is no longer a part of my life. Uh, Rewinding back to my at the wake, well, let me see. After the funeral of my grandma, um, we had buried her next to grandpa outside of the place we had our services. So basically, the ser- the pla- this place has the way I knew it. This place had two locations: one in Austin, one in Pflugerville, Texas. The place on North Lamar and 51st was the funeral home we had our my grandpa services at. Well, no, the wake. We had the wake there, and then we had the funeral at our our church. I won't say the don't worry, I won't say the church name. You look up Pastor Mays, that's far as it go. But I won't say the church name. So we had the funeral at the church for Grandpa, and then we drove all the way from Austin to Pflugerville, Texas, at their other location, which is outside of the building that they have there also. So we buried him in the cemetery outside outside of that place in Pflugerville, Texas. Now, going back to Granny, we had her wake. We had her. No, we had her wake. We had her wake at their location where we had Grandpa's wake, and then when it came to the funeral services, we had it over there in Pflugerville, Texas, at the building that they got at that location. Right there, we had Granny's funeral right there. They had to take her coffin and put it in the car and drive a little bit outside of the building down the way to their cemetery in Pflugerville, Texas, okay? And bury her beside Grandpa. So, anyway, after her service was done, we went back to the building and had, the food and whatever, the whole talk or whatever. What I was surprised to hear was that Mama, before all this was done, when Granny passed, Mama had called the pastor and wanted Granny's services done at the church. He turned it down, basically telling Mama that she was never a member of the church itself. All my life, probably before I was born, when, Granny got married to Grandpa, she was really never, she went to, from what Granny told at one point, a time, Granny went to church one time with Grandpa. She did not like all of the hollering, the dancing, the hallelujah, whatever, all that stuff that come with it. She did not like church from that point. She never went back to church ever since. And all my life growing up, I've never once seen Granny go to church. She would look at church on TV and she would praise God from that, from there on. But going in a church, no, Granny was never that type of person. She was never a church woman. She was never a going to church woman. No, that was not her. So it made Mama mad. She hung up the phone in the pastor's face because of what he said, that he did not want to do Granny services at his church because Granny was not a member of that church. Around the same time, minutes after, Uncle, this part is what really threw me off about the pastor. This is what made me completely say goodbye to church, ever. Uncle, rewinding back to when Grandpa died. Uncle said that he called the pastor and talked with him, or tried to talk to him, or whatever. At first, and this is what I'm hearing out of my uncle, at first the pastor did not want to do Grandpa's funeral at the church because he was not coming to church. Let me see. So let me tell you. So let's make this make sense. Somebody makes this make sense to me. Grandpa is, by the time he had picked me up to go take me to work, he was dying or felt like he was dying or whatever. Grandpa was sick. He couldn't walk no more. He couldn't barely move no more. He was in the family house, sick, laying in the hospital bed. Granny was taking care of him. Grandpa went from being as big as he was to his weight shrinking down each time because he was so sick. Basically dying, slowly dying, them times. So how could a sick man, slowly dying at all, go still attend church? See, my grandpa was a proud deacon of the church all his life. But how in the fuck is he going to go to the church when he is sick. And I'm talking about real sick. I'm talking about sick to where you can't do nothing, you can't move, you can't do nothing for yourself but have your wife take care of you. Come on now, make that make some fucking sense. How in the hell could my grandpa go to church at all, ever again, being that sick? Uncle had to convince the pastor to do grandpa's funeral services at that church. So that's how that came to be, to have grandpa's funeral. Oh boy. And that was before years, this is 2004 now, and this is years before Granny died, that I'm hearing this from my uncle, what happened in grandpa's situation. Me hearing that right there, uncle telling that to my mom and my auntie and other family members we had there, in that room with all those chairs, in that room, me hearing that from my uncle, I was like, okay. So I started to calculate that in my own head. Like, so the pastor in 2004 did not want to have Grandpa's funeral because he claims that Grandpa was not coming to church no more because, come on, like, make this make sense, Pastor. Like, Pastor, if you were sick, would you keep going to church? Ain't no pastor in the United States or in the whole world is a healer. You can't expect my grandpa to come to church and you are healing and now he's just... It does not happen that way. So I started to calculate that. 2004, the pastor did not want to do granddad's funeral at his church because grandpa was, basically grandpa was sick. And then years later, fast forwarding to 20, 2018, pretty much, that the pastor did not want to do grandmom's funeral because she was never a member of the church. That right there told me, out of all of these years, that me, my mom, and oh yeah, I forgot to add in the part that the ex-husband, well, he is, as far as some years ago, he is still my mom's ex-husband. But at that time, when they was married, he got to go to Grandpa's funeral. He didn't get to make it to Granny's funeral because, he was already sick on his own. So, I started to think that out of all these years that our family was with that church, and I'm talking about personally, me, my mom, my mom's husband, ex-husband, and my little brother, and my grandpa, members of that church, members of that church. And all we get is that, the way I'm thinking is that all this time, we was going to a church that has its own beliefs separate from everyone else. That's bad. And that's bad for any pastor, and it's bad for any church. To do, basically. I said, no, can't believe that church would be something like that. Under our noses, they would be something like that. So I started to be like, you know what, all churches are the same. For many years, now off and on, I was going to church off and on between 2004 and I think, what was it, 2004 to 2007 or 8. I haven't been back to church since then either. But as far as going back to church, period, after hearing Grandpop and Granny situation, no. All church, yeah, I gave up. I gave up on church. Yes, I gave up on church. All churches are the same because I don't trust going into another church or a new church and basically even thinking or assuming or knowing or feeling or getting a hint that these other churches is something bad. So yeah, I don't go to church no more. But I will not tolerate from anybody that's saying, yeah, you don't believe in God. Look here, for you to ever say to me that I don't believe in God, you believe in the devil. Don't ever show no devil intentions to me, saying that to me. I believe in God all the way. I got to look at God stuff in the Bible, on video, on TV, listening to the songs. Oh yeah, I still believe in God a lot more nowadays than I did going to church. A whole lot more. My uncle, he believes in God too, but my uncle was never the type of guy to go to church himself. Yeah, look, my uncle's wife, she goes to church. She's very faithful in church. My uncle only goes to church with her when he feels the need to go to church with her. Those are the only times he'll ever go to church, into a church. The church that his wife belongs to is if he has the feeling and the need to go with her. Other than that, she goes to her church herself. My uncle, besides doing that, his ways of believing God, he will faithfully read that Bible. He will do all the prayers and stuff. He believes in God outside of church. And now me taking a look at myself, looking at how he does it, I fell in that same category. I fell in that same situation. Because of granddad and grandma. Granddad and grandma. I feel in that same category, yes. I believe in God. I read the Bibles and everything like that, but walking me into a church, no, never again. People have their own beliefs in God and where they do it at and how they do it. Let it be. Let it be. And I don't argue religion either. See, a lot of people tend to forget. You argue this religion with that person. This person tell you what this person is. Okay, look, it's a whole argument. Leave that alone. Don't turn it into no argument. Don't turn it into no fight. And don't turn it into no war. Let people believe in their religions. Don't just leave it alone. It's a politicking debate when you have these people with different religions in one room or whatever. Come on now. Look, a person believes in the Baptist church, a person believes in the Catholic church, a person believes in those Mormons, those Muslim or Quran, whatever, come on now, the Allah, the Nation of Islam stuff, come on now. You can't put each and every religion in one room and thinking that they're going to have something to agree with. No, it's going to turn into an argument, a fight, and a war. Political religion, I'm not with that. And I don't push no religion on nobody either. Come on now. That's like having a Muslim who believes in the Quran, whatever, the Nation of Islam, black Muslim, whatever. That's like having him going to a person who believes faithfully in the Baptist or missionary Baptist or Catholic or whatever, trying to push their religion on them to make them turn. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not. You can tell people what you believe, you can tell people this and that, but don't push it on nobody. Let people keep that religion that they grew up with, that they was born on. Let them keep that religion. You keep what you keep and don't try to push it on nobody. But anyway, yeah, I don't attend church no more in life because simply just the whole situation with my granddad and my grandma. I can go in there and read the Bible right now. Is it going to make you happy? No, it'll make me happy. It'll make me happy because I'm reading what I'm reading. It'll make me happy. You're not going to have me coming on your show. Anybody, nobody's going to have me coming on their show or whatever, speaking my beliefs like that. No. Because I'm not there to come to anybody's channel or TV show or whatever else, or radio show or whatever else, pushing my Baptist religion beliefs on anybody else. No, don't never. So yeah, that's the end of that. Grandpa and grandma, yeah. I don't go to church no more because of the information being passed around about what the pastor has said and has done. At least as far as my grandpa, he was still convinced to do grandpa's funeral in his church though, but couldn't convince him hard enough to do Granny's funeral at his church, whatever. God bless y'all. And stay blessed and have a good day.